grapefruiting it. You're grapefruiting Elden Ring.
I'm really hooked, my man.
I would
It's
have to agree.
got its claws in me, and I'm hooked.
So let's just talk about some statistics here. So before we talk about we're going to do a review in progress, basically. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh, I am almost 30 hours in, and you are,
about 50 hours in.
which is insane, by the way.
Yeah, I
Nuts.
had to do some grinding and go get some spells because I'm a spellcaster. But
And we're still at the same place.
yeah, we've only done two main bosses, so
So it just goes to show you how much you can do in this game without getting bored. And,
yeah,
we're at the same spot, him and I, we're levels apart, but
yeah,
almost 30 hours, almost 50 hours, right?
yeah.
So according to data given to the outlet by Game Sales Data, or the GSD, Elden Ring's launch in the UK was larger than Call of Duty Vanguard's and Horizon Forbidden West's, the latter of which was outsold by Elden Ring more than 2.5 times,
Wow.
which is fucking crazy. And From Software's Elden Ring was the biggest launch for a title outside of Call of Duty or FIFA since 2018's Red Dead Redemption 2.
Those are crazy numbers. What's up, Kevin? Yeah, those are crazy numbers.
A haul. Yeah, man. So this game is not only is it selling well, it's also reviewing very well. On its release date, it was at one point the number one game on Metacritic of all time.
Yeah.
So
So let's get into it a little bit. First of all,
first of all,
we're both playing on PlayStation 5. So let's note that. Let's put a pin in that. Okay, both playing on PlayStation 5. I have two negatives, and then the rest are positives. So let me get the negatives out of the way.
okay,
One, the game runs like ass.
not for me, but for you.
It runs like ass. Sub 60 all the times, stutters constantly, inconsistent frame rate and frame pacing. It feels bad to play a lot of times. On PC, I know it's even worse. The only way to get the game to run at a consistent 60 FPS on any platform is playing PS4 and back compat on PS5, which I'm not doing because I just don't feel like it.
But you will admit that for some reason the game ran better on my machine.
When I saw it, yes. Yours looked very stable, and I don't understand why.
But it have to do with maybe I'm running the game off of my what is it, M2 drive? Maybe it's able to read the data faster.
I I have to run it on the internal SSD. It's a PS5 game.
I'm aware, but I have an additional internal drive.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay,
No,
so I was going to say
no,
if
it's CPU, CPU side.
Okay.
Yeah, it's CPU and GPU side. Digital
The
Foundry
only difference,
did a good breakdown of it. Yeah, the only difference is you're playing disc and I'm playing digital.
yeah.
But
So I don't get
Digital
that.
Foundry did a very comprehensive, like 40-minute breakdown of it, where they looked at everything. So that is bad. And I don't understand. From Software needs to not do their own technical stuff. They need to hire other people to do their technical stuff. They always get it wrong. I also roping into the technical stuff. I think the game sometimes looks really good, and I think other times looks like complete ass. I think they need to update their engine and get better textures and figure it out. Get other people to do your fucking tech stuff because you're not good at it. You've always been bad at it. Second, big complaint is there are still some cumbersome aspects of the game that in a normal Souls game, I might say are there to not add to the difficulty, but to make you play in a certain way, thinking about the humanities and things like that, which are not present in this game. But you have like the curling fingers or remedies or whatever in this game, and a few other things where I'm like, you're just adding a barrier to something where there's not actually a reason. Like, there's no reason for those things to be in the game, right? Like, you always can make a million of them. So why have it as a feature in the game? And there's a few things like that. I've also ran into some issues on my horse where if I'm running with my horse, I can't cast immediately. And that's not by design. It's because the fucking game stutters when I go to cast when I'm on my horse.
Mm,
And it's like, then I can die because the game hiccuped when I go to cast my spell off of the horse.
gotcha.
Those are the negatives.
Okay. I don't really have any negatives right now. I'm like thoroughly enjoying my time with the game. I've had one crash. That's it.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't have really anything negative to say.
Yeah. We know some other people have had some network issues, like Dave, here and there.
Yeah, we've had one issue where I joined your game and a boss just was not there in my game, but he was there in your
I forgot
game.
about that. The dragon, yeah.
So like Josh was like fighting a dragon, and our friend Dave and myself were running off in a different direction. And he's like, "Guys, what are you doing?" We were like, "What do you mean? We're going to find the dragon." And he's like, "I'm fighting the dragon." And we were like, "No, you're not." And then he was like, "It's on top of you." And we were like, "What?" And I started swinging my sword, and I was doing damage apparently to an enemy I couldn't even see. Right.
Yeah. And then it just despawned and has never returned, by the way. Never returned.
That's very bad. So
but
I don't really have many negatives. I want to say, to me personally, it's the best looking Souls game that they've ever made, aside from Blue Point's remake of Demon Souls.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely the best looking.
Sure.
I think that the art design is fantastic. The world design, enemy design, everything is fantastic. I'm loving the way the game feels in the hand. I'm loving the controls. I'm loving the new jump mechanic. Everything kind of leads to one thing. And we've mentioned this before in conversations with our friends. This game, Elden Ring, is a combination of the best things from all of From Software's games up to this point.
Correct.
They've added jumping, which I believe was in Sekiro. They've taken chances in all of their games, and they've just taken the best aspects of all of them and put them in this. Yeah. And not only that, but they've gotten rid of a lot of the worst parts of all of their games and made them better. So co-oping was always tedious. And I feel like every game they've made since Dark Souls 2, they've made efforts to make it easier to play co-op with your friends. It couldn't get any easier in Elden Ring to play with your friend. The only way it could be easier is if, like you said, they got rid of the items completely
and removed some stupid fog walls that make no sense. But
those were for technical limitations. But I do, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's so easy to play with your friends and to summon other players. They've even added, on top of the password function, they've added group passwords now, where if you belong to an online community like a Reddit group or a Discord channel, you could have multiple different passwords set for those groups. That way their signs show up too. So if you know, like, there's a group of really good players of Elden Ring online that are always down to help you, you could just make that one of your group passwords, and then that person or that group sign will always pop up for you and populate. It's just, there's so much. It's so big. The world is so large.
It might be the biggest open world map I've ever played. And I mean that in not necessarily a actual surface area standpoint, right?
Yeah.
But whereas a lot of open worlds have very empty parts of it, you know what I mean? Or it's just like, oh, look at this vista, it's really nice, but there's nothing to do there. Or there's just checkboxes and like little things to do about the service. For every square inch of this game that you see on the top level, sea level, if you will, right? There are things below it, above it, next to it, around it, in it, on it, all over the place, everywhere. The sense of discoverability in this game is insane. And you can spend, and we have spent, most of my time with the game is not doing any of the main parts. I mean, there's so much to do, and you really, it makes you discover things, and you want to discover things because of how much attention to detail they put in the world, but also the map is never cluttered. You only see your sites of grace, points of grace, whatever they're called. There's no checkboxes. It's all natural, and it rewards you for discovering things and exploring.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's by design that they've crafted the world in a way where, like you said, it's not like you have to do all the bosses. Like, there's so much to do outside of that, and it's like they want you to go outside of that. The one complaint about Dark Souls that a lot of people have is if you can't beat the boss, your progress is halted. You can't play the game, right? You're stuck. In this game, it rewards you if you give up and go and do other things and get stronger by doing little things. You can then get stronger and then come back to that boss and absolutely rip his fucking head off, know?
Which we did, the first boss.
That's true.
The first maybe 10 or 15 hours of the game, we played it like a Dark Souls game, right? We did a little bit of side stuff, but we're like, all right, let's try to do this boss. And we kept failing. And we're like, okay, let's just go fuck around for a while and screw around. And then when we came back, we beat the boss, first time pretty much for all of us in the co-op party together.
Yeah.
Um, and then this most recent boss, we're probably way over leveled for her, but we eliminated her immediately.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. There's a
and
lot of things that they've done as well that it goes to the quality of life aspect of it, where I kind of mentioned the co-op thing already, but like even simply like just things like NPCs that could be killed on accident and then they're gone forever. And like you just get locked out of a quest line or locked out of a merchant, like that kind of stuff might be still present a little bit, but there are ways to fix it. You know what I mean? It's not like you're ever completely fucked.
right.
And I think that's important too for the scale of the game to have you locked out of a certain aspect like that for the whole game. That
Mhm.
whole session would be ludicrous, right?
Yeah. Well, and
So,
it's a lot to keep track of too, right? Because it's very vague quest lines. There's no like go here and do this, go here and talk to this person. You have to
no
listen.
quest log.
Yeah, you have to listen to what the characters say.
Yeah.
Sometimes they give you items or notes, and very rarely notes. Actually, I do have one right now though where I got like a little note hint. So it's good because as long as you really try to do everything you can between main bosses, right? Like once you beat another boss, that is a progression, right?
Yeah.
And usually things happen with that progression.
Mhm.
So there are some quest lines in this game that are way more deep than any other Souls game before, require way more steps. I think they spent more time on the actual world this time in the actual building because there's some really, really cool quest lines. And again, it rewards you for following up on those things.
Yeah.
So,
To mention, we can't not mention George R. R. Martin of Game of Thrones fame helped
right,
craft this world, apparently.
right.
I got to tell you, it's just as wacky and weird and makes no sense as all the other Dark Souls games. Something about fingers, and that's all I know is there's fingers and hands, and you're not the Ashen one. What are you called? The Exalted one, or you're
Tarnished.
the Tarnished? Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're changing it up a little bit. It's still the basic Dark Souls
Yeah.
thing, but I feel like he was just like, oh yes, that is Gwingwab the booty chaser, and you're like, ah yes, Gwingwab the booty chaser,
course,
and you go and kill it, and that's it.
But it just, the game has its claws so deep into me, and you really do get, I mean, it's such a time sink, dude. You get lost
Yeah.
doing nothing,
Yeah.
really. Any main progression stuff. You go here and be like, ooh, what's that? It's like, what I was thinking to myself last night? It's like,
What's that?
it's like the James Woods of video games. Because like the Family Guy bit goes, you're like, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of
Yeah.
candy. Ooh, piece of candy. And then before you know it, you don't know where the fuck you are. And then things start being like, oh, these things take a lot of hits. And then you're like, what is that? And then you find a snowman in the middle of nowhere and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And that's the other thing
Yeah.
too, which you sent me, I think, a tweet where it's like, when we're co-oping, the amount of time we're co-oping is very small, right? There's like a lot of time where we're just doing our own thing to try to get levels or get something specifically and then come back together. And you'll be talking about one thing, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'll be talking about another thing, and like, what the fuck are you talking about? Dave will be doing something else and be like, what's going on, dude?
Yeah.
And like, like completely different experiences all at the same time.
Yeah, and we're having a completely different experience than someone that's playing completely solo too, because they don't have that. So they're just like wandering around finding all that stuff on their own.
Right.
So we have a unique experience where we're playing it together. Someone that's playing by themselves might have a completely different, unique experience, and that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many different ways to play the game, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really cool too.
Yeah. Horse combat. Horse in general.
The horse is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
And much needed. If there was no horse in this game,
Yeah. Which
don't know what to
they
tell you.
should add it to multiplayer. I understand why they don't have it, but horse combat is awesome. Especially for a spellcaster and for those like world bosses or those random encounters.
Yeah.
Dude, I beat things that I have no business beating because I can just run around in a circle, cast a spell, keep running, cast a spell, keep running, summon my fucking wolves. It's
Yeah.
it's good. So they do shoehorn you into certain areas, whether they're dungeons or main areas, and those will kick your ass, right?
Mhm.
Those are very difficult challenging designed areas for specific reasons. But the
Yeah.
open world is pretty forgiving because even if you come across something that is really, really challenging, you have all of these tools at your disposal and you can address it however you want to fit your play style, right? So
Yeah.
if you're like in one of those pigeonholed areas, like you said, and you keep failing, just go explore the open world. Go back to areas that you think you fully explored because I'm telling you, you haven't fully explored it. I'm finding stuff now in those first areas that we went to because I'm like, oh, I missed this item. I missed this. I missed this. I missed this. And I'm like, I didn't even know this was fucking here. Like something hidden behind a tree. I'm like, where the fuck was this? I've been through here a million times. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Another thing that this game has that's only really doable with an open world is it has different types of bosses. So you'll
Mm-hmm.
have open world bosses where you'll just stumble across a boss in the middle of a field, right? Then you have dungeon bosses, which are much more like Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your typical, I don't know the word for it, like a regular Dark Souls boss where you're exploring an area, you get to a certain point, you get a shortcut, and then boom, the boss is there, right?
Right.
So there's like the three different types of bosses I would probably label.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is, all of them rule, and they're all pretty good. The rewards for the dungeon ones could be better, in my opinion. It's not always great, especially if like you're not a magic user and you're getting all these spells. You're like, all right, dude, really?
Yeah.
Uh, but what's really cool is these random bosses that they have in the game that will only come out at night,
Mm-hmm.
or they have certain bosses where you'll fight them in open world, and then later it'll be there, but there'll be two of them instead of one, right? So they do really cool things with the bosses in this game, and I've even gotten to the point where I found an area where the first main boss of the game is there,
Mm.
which I don't understand. I ran away because he wasn't even a boss; he was a regular enemy, and that was terrifying. So
Yeah. I think
yeah,
that's one of the coolest parts about exploring is like coming across not just dungeons and stuff, but like coming across bosses. Like I've had a few moments where like
yeah,
I'm running through a field or I'm traversing the side of this mountain. I'm I freaking they the horse has those huge jump points. Dude, I
mm.
took one of those. Like I was like, "Oh, I want to get to that top of the mountain. Oh, there's a jump point. Let me go to that jump
You
point.
go so high.
Take that jump point. Went all the way up. I go to the top. There's a fucking huge crater that a comet fell in, and there's a boss in the middle of it. And then I'm in a boss fight, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's fucking
Yeah.
shooting stars at me and shit. Like, dude.
Kevin Hall in the chat says being able to fight a dragon on a horse was cool as hell. I agree, man. It was so cool. I remember a dragon spawned and shot fire at me, and I turned my camera around while I was on my horse and started, running in the opposite direction. I couldn't see what was in front of me, but I saw the fire like coming closer and closer to the ass of my horse, and it was just such a cool, like, cool guys don't look at explosions moment where I'm just like on a horse while there's like fire behind. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
was so badass. And honestly, the horse makes combat, like you said, for the magic users easy. It makes a combat way easier for everyone, I think, because even having my great sword and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just riding around, and then as soon as it does its attack, I slash him, and then I just keep going around him in circles.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a really welcome addition to the game.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, we're playing. You could always pick different builds, right?
Mhm.
But it's usually always favored Sword and Shield, the mainline Dark Souls games.
It favors it, but Magic has been OP in the past, right?
Yes, it just took a long time to get good with it, basically.
Mhm.
Um, but this game, from the get go, I was able to do a lot of damage very quickly. Glass cannon, of course, but that's the trade off, right? That's how you play it. And now, like, my intelligence is very high. I'm starting to purposely go off into quest lines and find specific spells or equipment or tools, whatever it might be. And I'm going through areas now, and I'm like, just forget it, dude. I'm obliterating things, and it feels so good. I'll still be dead in one shot, but I can also kill every enemy pretty much in one shot. So
Yeah, it's really cool going back to areas that you got your ass kicked in once you level up and you like one
yes,
shot dudes. It's like
yeah,
really nice.
yeah. Like for example, I forgot yesterday. I didn't beat the. I did it with you and Dave in your guys' worlds, but I didn't beat the first. What's his name? The horse on the guy.
Oh,
Person.
the forest, the tree, tower tree, the tree,
The tree knight, tower knight, tree
something like
tower knight. In the very like as soon as you go
A
out,
horse knight, yeah.
yeah, in the first, I forgot I didn't go back. I didn't never went back and beat him, uh, and not that you need to. He doesn't really give you much,
Mm.
but I went back and beat him, and I like four shot at him, and I was like, hell yes.
Spoiler alert: he's the one that I fought where there
Tree
was
Sentinel.
Tree Sentinel.
Tree Sentinel. Yeah,
He's the one. There's going to be two.
Yeah, guess what? I've come across two other versions of him in the game.
Was one of them the one at night?
Yes, and then there's another one with two of the ones at night, but with a new spin on it.
No way. That's abysmal.
Yeah, those ones fucked me up. But it's so cool, and every area is designed so well, right? Like it's your classic, super intricate connections. Check your corners, look at ledges, areas, but
Yeah.
on an open world scale.
Yep.
And there are items and whole areas that so many people will miss that have such nice detail and cool enemies and unique items in them. And they did such a good job, man. This game has its claws super deep into me. I can't wait to play it every day. I don't know what else to say about it other than it's fucking incredible.
I'm with you. Yeah, every time I get a moment of free time, I just want to play it. It's actually starting to be an issue because my fiance is like, "Will you spend some time with me after work now?" And I'm like, "Can't do it, dude."
Elden Ring, dude.
So I'm really, really, really looking forward to tomorrow night. She has to go to bed early on Fridays because she works on Saturday mornings. So once she goes to bed tomorrow, dude, I'm just playing Elden Ring all night.
Nice. What level are you now, by the way?
Couldn't tell you. 50
Okay.
something, 60.
God, I just hit 100.
Yeah, you're bad. I'm not going to be able to
Well,
play
the
with you
thing is,
anymore.
I have. Yes, you are. I had all these spells that needed super high intelligence, like the one.
Your enemies are going to be so hard to kill for me.
No, they're fine. The one that we got from the second boss, that spell,
Mhm.
dude, it required 70 intelligence.
Is that the Kamehameha blast or is it the arrow?
I turn into a moon.
Oh. You turn to that ball?
Turn into that ball that then sends the entire fucking moon projectile at somebody. Dude. Let's just say 250 int scaling, all right?
Very nice.
100% crit chance.
Well, it definitely has the haptic intel seal of approval. At this point, here's the problem. It's so large in scale, I don't know when I'm going to finish it.
I don't define finish.
Well, that's the thing, right? And because I'm trying to think, like, where would I put it on my list of Dark Souls games if I had to, like the Souls games? Where would I put it, right?
God.
I don't know where I'd put it yet because there's still so much to do. It's still so much to explore. Right now, it's definitely in the upper echelon, but it isn't the best yet, in my opinion, because there's been moments in other Souls games that there's just even like Bloodborne in general.
Yeah.
Is so great to me in terms of the theme and the bosses and the what the fuck moments.
I think it'll be hard for it to overcome Bloodborne.
I think so too.
But it's hard to say because we both spent probably over 100 hours in Bloodborne, right? I think easily. We've beaten that game several times. I still don't have the platinum, such a scourge in my fucking record. But yeah, it's hard to say, man. All I can say for certain is that I fucking love it. I fucking love
Elden Ring. Yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. I recommend it. And you know what? I'm seeing a lot of like new fans to the Souls franchise jump in with Elden Ring, and I think that's awesome.
I think that's the other thing I wanted. The last point, and then we can move on because I know we don't need to belabor this anymore. It's a good game. People are saying that it's the hardest Dark Souls game. I disagree. I actually think Elden Ring might be a great entry point for somebody who has never played a Soulsborne Sekiro game before. Because there are so many... You alright?
Soulsborne Kiro, dude.
Less cumbersome elements than those other games have. And the challenge is certainly still there. Absolutely. But you have more ways to approach those challenges and more things to do to help you overcome them, that I think this would be a great entry point for somebody in the series. And let me tell you right now, you'll learn right quick how you play this game and how you don't play this game. This game does a very good job of really funneling you in to, welcome to a Dark Souls game. Here's how you play.
You're gonna die as soon as you see an enemy.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
How tough are you? You had a bowl of nails for breakfast. It better be not with any milk. Okay.
That's right. Salty spittoon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check it out if you haven't played Elden Ring yet. If you haven't purchased it yet, give it a try. If you don't like it, return it or something. I don't know, but it's good.
It's great.
Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Haptic Intel. Did you do it? Subscribe right now.